This is Top Headlines for today at Dunamis, the 25th of August, 2022. In very local news, an alleged secret deal between Choice and the Hyperdome shows that in a time of low income and high rent, even the Hyperdome won't budge on rent reducing for its store holders, even when they are, quote, on their hands and knees begging for mercy. But who cares about Choice? Are you on Team Woolies or Team Coles? In church news, Hillsong is making headlines again. Crazy, I know. VIP parking and seating are to be removed from all campuses in one of the many cost-cutting measures, as Hillsong's financial report for 2021 shows a drop of nearly $11 million. On top of that, there are total live Sunday attendance has greatly dropped from its pre-COVID numbers to its online boost to its post-COVID drop. Now, before we go into this third headline, we have a very special track to play for you guys.
You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. You'd be like heaven to touch. I wanna hold you so.
A Sydney nightclub banned staring without getting prior verbal consent. A Sydney nightclub has banned staring unless the person doing the staring gets prior consent of the person they are staring at to continue staring. A failure to do so could result in the police being called. Shaun, hey, don't look at me, Shaun. Have you asked for my consent to look at me? Hang on, Shaun. Don't do it. I'm going to have to call the police.
Looking away. Is that going to come into the church? I have sometimes caught your eye, Ed, staring at a young lady. So
that is. No. I asked first. I promise.
okay.
I texted her on Facebook first.
I wonder how many people started their relationship because the opposite person caught their eye.
Yes. I wonder that, eh? Man, so crazy.
I don't know.
So crazy, man.
Yes, I don't understand this world in which we live.
Yes.
But anyhow,
anyway.
such is. So Erica, on that, you probably didn't hear about that ruling, did you? From the nightclub in Sydney?
Because
we don't go to nightclubs.
Yeah, we don't go. It's a Sydney nightclub.
There's some
somewhere.
other church groups that might, but we
we don't go to nightclubs. We don't do nightclubs.
But
we don't do nightclubs here.
in that particular area, Erica's had to run and do something.
Yes,
That's why I was
there
like,
we go.
"Fine." But in that particular Erica, so there's a particular nightclub in Sydney
Yes.
that's just brought in a law or ruling with their patrolling security to enforce that if you are caught staring at the opposite, well, it could be whatever.
And just anyone. If you're just caught staring at anyone.
For what they classify a length of time, I don't know how long the time is, then you'll be removed. What do you think of that?
Okay, I mean, like, it's hard because, like, if you're in that setting, you're kind of setting yourself up to be stared at. So I'm not really sure. But I respect a person's privacy, I guess.
There are people. Did you put a picture of my bear up on there?
Oh, no. What?
Sorry. Excuse me. My bad. Forgive me.
The bear necessities?
Look for the bear. Oh, copyright strike.
Oh, I put the bear back on.
Okay, sorry.
I was showing this to Ed. I didn't know it was going on screen. It's a honey bear. When I was away, we were away in Cairns for 5 days, and I was going around this particular place, and they had several selection of bee stuff. So I was able to get bee, and they had this. They had 6 of these bears that looked like bear pots, so I thought they were cute. So
yes. Well, so speaking of Cairns, it was your anniversary.
It was
40-year anniversary.
40th year.
Marriage. Oh, of marriage.
40th year of marriage.
Yes.
That's we've been married longer than you've been alive.
That's very true.
And Erica, longer than Erica's been alive.
Yes.
Okay, so
All true.
40 years.
Yes.
I remember when I first got married and I met somebody who's married for 10 years and I thought, oh my goodness, that's a long time. But now my own son's married 11 years.
Yeah, wow.
Erica, how many years you married? 11?
Same 11.
I remember doing your wedding.
Thank you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, wow, 40 years. Yeah. It's called a ruby.
Ruby, yes.
Ruby.
Yes. The color
Ruby.
red.
So we had this. I said to my wife, because I already gave my wife gifts for her anniversary and everything else earlier on. And so I already did that. And my wife likes to get the gift now, like when it's talking about it. So it's several months before the wedding anniversary. You know what I mean? So when we went away, so she wanted to go away to Cairns.
Yes.
And so we went over there for 5 nights. And I'm a funny person. I I don't really want to go. I don't want to do this. I regret it. And then when I get this, I don't want to come back. I like being here. I like living here. We should start a church here. But where you go to holiday it's always different if you want to go and live there.
Yeah, yeah.
If you go to America for a holiday, it's not the same as living there. And I'm sure Eric could find that when you come to Australia for a holiday, it's different from living here because you get into the routine. But anyhow, so when we were up there, I said to Sandra, so we got up there, we flew up there on the Thursday, and I said this, we went to a mall there.
Yes.
And I said to Sandra, look, let's just do something different.
Yeah.
So in this mall, we have an hour just to separate and conquer.
Yes.
All right. So the goal is, between $10 to $20 budget, we have to find a gift for each other. And on top of that, buy a card.
Yes.
So we have to find a gift. So it's not about spending silly money. It's just something between that $10 to $20 range. Right. And get it wrapped up or bagged. And just the wrapping cost me $7.50.
Oh my goodness!
That was on top of the gift.
Yeah.
Sandra got $1 gift bag, so it worked out better. Okay, she's better at it than me. And then we're to get it, bring it back, and on our wedding anniversary, which was a Sunday, we would give it to each other.
Oh.
Now my wife's the cutest little thing. So my wife's love language is gifts.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Do you remember what my love language is?
Acts of service.
Acts of service. We talked about that, didn't we, Ed?
Yes. We have acts of
Yes,
service.
acts of service,
Classic.
yeah. Okay.
Maybe lock it as well, Erica. There's like a latch at the bottom, on the back of it. Yeah, just lock it. Yeah.
Yeah. It keeps rocking and moving.
It keeps rocking and rolling, eh? Oh, it's all right with the Zoom. Yeah. Yeah, it's all right.
It's blurry.
Oh.
Well, fix
Well, that's not good. Why is it blurry?
She got it.
I figured it out.
Just had to turn the
Turn
lens.
the notch.
Yeah, okay.
The thing.
Let me get back to the story.
Yes.
So
Okay.
my wife's love language is gifts.
Gifts. Yours is acts of service.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so she just couldn't wait till Sunday.
Oh.
I mean, she was like, first thing, wake up, 5 or something in the morning.
Yeah.
Well, no, I went out to do 5Ks. Actually, I didn't go out that day. That's the only.
Sean.
No, it's the only day I didn't go out to exercise in the morning. So like 5 something in the
What
morning. She's
the
like,
heck?
let's open the gifts.
Yeah.
And I was serious. I said, what gifts? I forgot. Because that was like on Thursday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The gifts. So I mean, they're just little things.
Yes.
You know
If
what
you
I
go for Erica, we got the photos. We got
mean? So this is the gift wrap. So that's Sandra's gift bag with her card there. Quaint, isn't it?
Yep.
And mine is on the other side, the right. See the nice bow?
The $7 wrapping.
$7.50.
$7.50 wrapping.
Well, you know what's funny? When we got back to the car on that Thursday,
Yes.
she says, yes, I got the gift, and we got back to the unit.
Yes.
And she says, and I got the card. I forgot to get a card. So I got so caught up. It took me so long. I was the one thought it'd be the easiest to get the gift, and it was the hardest. So anyhow, I had to go out the next day and go find a.
Yep.
And do you know how hard it is to find a newsagent now?
Wait, really?
Yeah, I did a Google to find in the Esplanade a newsagent.
Yeah.
And I went to 2 of them. They're all closed down. They're turned to chemists. Yeah. So
Oh.
yeah,
Dang.
it was really hard. So I went to the Big W.
Oh, classic Big W.
Well, Woolworths, I mean, not the Big W thing, but Woolies.
Oh.
Woolies grocery store.
Oh.
They actually have a card selection.
Yeah, they do, eh?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it came
man.
in. Let's have a look at the
Oh,
cards.
yeah. So
Okay.
we've got Sandra's.
There's Sandra's card.
I'm going back.
Yeah.
Okay, can you zoom in on her card?
Card. This is the one you got for her.
This is one I got for her. It says, love lets you, what? Annoy.
Annoy
That.
What's it? That
One.
one special
Oh,
person.
yeah.
Yeah.
Love lets you annoy that one special person. And inside is the card that has the remote control. And so my wife says, I fall asleep holding the remote control. Exactly. And if you look to Sandra's card, she won on this. Sandra won. She got a card that was a ruby.
Ruby.
Yeah, a ruby card.
Look at that.
Yeah, look at that. I said, let's not throw that one away.
Yeah, that looks
And
fancy.
she comes in that area there. A ruby. Okay, so she won that area. So she got me bath salts. Now, people ask why on earth bath salts. I do a lot of leg workouts and cardio running and that, and my legs cane me. They kill. You see me walk. So anytime I can, I'll throw bath salts into a hot tub and just to try and deal with the pain. So she uses more than a pair of shorts. And so if she spent a total of $20, and the bath salts cost $11. Shorts weren't that expensive.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And but I appreciate it. And then for me, I got Sandra. You gonna put it over there?
Yeah, go for it. Go. Yeah.
Sandra, zoom in. Some special organic face masks and face cream. Well, I'm gonna be honest to you. The face mask made up the $20. So the cream was extra money, which was double the whole lot.
Yep.
But I just threw that in. I said the masks are the $20 thing. They're like $9.50 each. You know what I mean?
So even though you had a limit, you both went over basically.
No, I didn't go. I said this is the mask, but this is a bonus on top.
So you still went over the 20.
No, it's extra present. Can tell this is a man who is single. Don't you understand that when it comes to marriage that you've got to, and your partner, love language is gifts, you got to step over.
Yeah, yes.
Sandra will go a little under. Her love language is not gifts. She doesn't give me cards or gifts. Well, that's not my love language, so it doesn't worry me. So, but it's not my love language, so it doesn't worry me. So I don't worry about it.
Yes.
But praise God. But yeah, it's most interesting. Now, you mentioned a couple. Let's talk about local news.
Local news, the Hyperdome. Yes.
The Hyperdome. So now that Hyperdome, you always thought was owned by Westfield.
Yeah, or like just some elusive Illuminati types who we don't know the faces of, like just a bunch of suits and ties. And that's what I thought the Hyperdome. I didn't realize it was state government owns the Hyperdome.
Wait,
right?
What?
Yeah, see, Erica doesn't know either. She doesn't know either.
Westfield recently.
Yeah, right.
It was who?
I thought it was Westfield.
Westfield, yeah.
Recently.
No, you've been hanging around Ed. Ed spreads rumors. No, it's Westfield. It's
Fake news.
It's Westfield. It's Queensland's superannuation. So when they retake all those areas, it doesn't matter if then it's Queensland government.
That's just Queensland government.
Because they marketed all the areas where the gym and B&W is and all that stuff there. And they retake all that area and come down here. So, it's a big mass land grab.
Yeah, wow.
Roads. So, anyhow, so what happened is that businesses have been finding it very hard.
Yes, with all their rent going up and there's no support.
But it's not just that shopping centre mall. It's all the areas, and they have not been open to reduction. So it was in the paper for the area. So there's been a lot of pressure on businesses.
Yeah. I mean, their rent was $300,000.
No, I think it was 100,000.
Oh, sorry, 100,000. Yeah, it was some crazy amount.
100,000 a year, but they had one shop inside, one shop outside, or something.
Yeah.
So it was very, very expensive. But it's also talking about how many stores they said leave. What do we have?
The comment is legit.
Was a Westfield? Nah,
it's not Westfield.
No.
Read it. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, you read it, Eric.
I'm reading our comment. If Hyperdome was a Westfield, we would have paid parking. Thankfully, we don't.
Yeah,
That's
that is
point.
true, but you can never get paid parking at the Hyperdome. They'd lose all their business immediately. No one can afford paid parking here in this area. Well, I can't.
Or they could do the 3 hours free, and then after that you pay.
It is 3 hours free. How long do you hang out at a mall?
I don't know.
If you spend longer than 3 hours, you need to get a life.
Hey, okay, you got.
He needs to get a woman.
Hey,
That's what it is.
You go to the cinema. You watch a 2.5 hour movie, and then you go get dinner. That's over 3 hours right there. Hey,
Ed's looking for a date, people.
At least we know what the date will be.
Oh yeah. I guess that's.
So why don't you do it this way? Why don't you go to the Go class?
Okay.
So that way you get dinner and the movie at the same time, and you're out on time.
No.
That works out better. Go to the Go class.
Gold class is so expensive.
But then you compensate for the parking, so it's perfect.
We're eating while we're watching the movie, then we're splitting because I can't afford parking.
Well, go out and buy Subway, stick it in the bag, go into the Go class and eat it. Have you ever smuggled food into a... Yes. I smuggled it into Go class.
Okay, here's the budget option. You go on a Tuesday, worship practice, because it's cheaper. And you take your own budget food in, and then you don't have to pay for parking and all this.
Well, Jacinta knows if I ever miss a Tuesday now, it's because I got a date. And I'm taking it to the movies.
Obviously, the date won't be a part of the music team.
Yeah.
So if you were going to smuggle in food to cinema,
Yes.
what food would you smuggle?
Boba tea.
Oh, bubble
Say
tea?
that again.
Boba tea.
But it's bubble tea. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So how do you smuggle that in? Because
I
it's
just
so
walk in confidently and they don't say anything.
You know, in America, they're like police state there. You're trying to get in their food over there. They almost do you a body pat down in the United
Yeah.
America.
What do you got there?
They're so strong about stuff. It's more relaxing, but they're so strong to get you. Did you ever find that in the US?
I think it depends on where you go.
Oh, sorry, where you live, there was no cinemas for hours.
A 40-minute drive.
40-minute drive.
But
Okay.
if you just took a big enough bag, it was okay.
Just stick it in the bag.
They were like...
Okay, so bubble tea.
Yeah,
tea.
yeah.
Okay, so Ed, if you're gonna smuggle any food, what is it?
Some tortellini carbonara.
Oh no, you would stink the place out. I mean, where would you sit in a cinema?
Right at the back.
At the back. I sit in the back row. I sit back, far end. It's just a 2-seater with my wife.
Oh, yeah. Oh, nice.
I'll set it up for you when you want to go there. Back row. There. Dude, you'd stink the place out. Are you serious? You wouldn't do that. No. Have you ever smuggled food in?
Oh, just some like chips from like Woolworths or something like that, but they don't care about that. I've never done hot food before.
I hate it.
Yeah?
When I'm in a cinema. This is why I very rarely go to movies. I just wait till it's... I prefer to pay $20 on a pay-per-view
Oh, yeah.
and watch it at home so I can pause it, because at my age, you either fall asleep or you go to the restroom a lot. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if you fall asleep, you rewind it. If you got to go to the restroom, you pause it.
Yes.
But the thing I hate, and I mean I hate, is you're there listening and you hear somebody trying to open up a packet of potato chips. And then they crunch up.
What's the term for that?
Yes, I have a mental problem, okay? So I have a situation in my life where I find that really, really hard.
That makes a lot of sense that cinemas are hard for you then.
It does. I
Yeah.
cannot handle... It's called misophonia.
Yes.
So misophonia, and I'll display what it is. Misophonia may cause a reaction to sounds such as dripping water, chewing. I don't like any of my staff chewing gum, right, Erica?
Yes.
Snapping gum. That's it. Popping it.
Oh, yeah.
Repetitive noises such as pencil tapping or...
Oh.
It just drives me noise. So this is the coping strategies.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Number 1, use noise cancelling headphones.
Oh, yeah.
Always. All the time.
Yep. 24/7.
Is anyone calling me? What? Hello. Number 2, listen to music or calming sounds or white noise. You know what white noise is? Like a fan or something.
Oh, yeah. White noise like that. Yeah.
Number 3, distract yourself with calming mantra or affirmation. Well, I'm not Buddhist.
Yeah.
Hindu, so it might be, the joy of the Lord is my... I don't know. Or my favorite is the 4th one.
Yes. Number 4.
Yeah, I applied this to Erica.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm lecturing in Bible school.
Yeah.
Erica, who is not a student but works so hard there, is
Yes.
at the back.
Yep.
And she decides to eat an apple.
Oh, Erica.
So I'm lecturing and he just... and I'm lecturing and I can feel perspiration building, right? She goes again. You know what I mean?
I'm starting
And I
to
go
with
like...
my mouth closed.
And I
though.
go, Erica, I suffer from self-diagnosed misophonia. So these are my strategies. I get noise-cancelling headphones. Can't do because I'm lecturing. 2, I listen to music or calming sounds. Can't do it because I'm lecturing. 3, I distract myself with a calming mantra. Can't do it because I'm lecturing. So number 4 is politely ask the person making the sound to stop or go. So she went.
The other strategy is that you partake as well, but that wasn't an option either. So.
Yes, I did not want to eat her apple.
What? Welcome to TaD, Dunamis.
Hey, at least I'm open. At least I'm open.
What is this show? What is this show?
Erica keeps filming me having a drink. That's the second time.
This is the blooper reel today. Excuse us.
So, and now here's the funniest thing. When I asked her to leave, several in the class went. Because they were suffering the same thing.
Yep.
So, getting back to the point,
Okay.
sitting in a cinema, I'm going
cinema.
like, potato crisp, munching, chewing. You know what I mean? So it's easy to be at home.
Yeah, true. yes.
So if I was to take food in,
Yes, what would you take? Yes.
Atkins chocolate,
Oh, okay.
like an Atkins bar.
But this who has to open it up.
It doesn't worry me when I open it.
Oh, when you open it. Yeah, that's true.
Only does when you open it. Okay. Yeah. All right. Cinemas. I don't know how we got to this one, Ed, but anyhow, it's almost like a Seinfeld.
Yes, this is a Seinfeld bit.
It's a show about nothing.
Yeah, show about nothing. It's a podcast
A show about nothing. Yeah, podcast about nothing. All right. On a serious note,
Yes.
you got to feel for Hillsong.
Yes.
You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Very
So,
much.
like they've gone through the mill.
Yes, through the ringer.
I should say they're still going through it.
Yeah, they still are. Yeah.
And anyone who is a Hillsong person or anything else, we love you and we're praying for the whole group, the whole leadership, without getting involved in whatever he said, she said, they said. We just pray for God's grace because there's a lot of good people and we certainly love them.
Yes.
And, the Sunday before I left, there was on the Sunday night singing choruses, and part of the credits was one of the Hillsong songs. And as I sat in the chair there, just singing, I thought, like, how sad that this may well be coming to a close to some degree. I'm not saying they'll stop, but to the degree it was, the influence.
Yes.
It's a tragedy. But they released their financial report.
Yes.
And what did they say in some of the area?
Well, the total revenue for 2021 was 76,924,646.
76 million. Okay.
Or it's 12%
I don't mind a
less.
tithe of that coming in. Sorry.
Yeah.
But everything is relative.
Yeah.
So it's not relative about the amount of money. It's relative to how much of your bills come in.
Yes.
And with the amount of campuses and properties and
Yes.
maybe loans, that's a lot. And so I think last year it's down like almost 12 million to last year.
12.3%.
But what it didn't tell you is that so it went from the 7 to this year's the 70s. Last year was the 80s.
80s, yeah.
The year before that was the 90s. And the year
90s.
before that was 100-something million. So it's been a decline for several years.
Yes.
And it might even be a little harder because these figures come into the 30th of June.
Yes.
It just goes to say that, churches feel it too.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
with
No matter what the
Hillsong, of
size.
course, it's not
Yep.
just the COVID, but part of the internal problems they have and lawsuits. But in overall, it's also got to do with the pressures on. And, I certainly appreciate, value, and thank everybody for their generosity, for trusting us. And
Yes.
that's why we've got to make sure. I saw the new acting senior pastor, Phil Dooley,
Yes.
came up with this statement. I'm not laughing at him, but just in the area, about how to make the church more attractive.
Yes.
So they bring in a couple of new rules. They announced this week.
Yes.
What was those rules?
No more VIP parking and
So
seating.
no more reserve parking.
Yeah.
Erica, you are not removing my reserve parking sign.
No worries. That's not my responsibility.
Yep,
anyways.
thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make sure though.
Yeah. Well, it's not somebody removes it. People park it anyhow. So that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
problem I have. Okay. Especially people who do deliveries.
Yeah,
Yes.
delivery guys.
They have no respect for signs.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're removing the reserve parking.
Yes.
But one of the ironies was, it says, and we're going to use it now for disabled. So where were they parking
Yeah,
before?
where
Down
they
the paddock? I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
originally, yeah.
And the second thing they were doing to help make things better was
Yeah, getting rid of the reserved seating in the auditorium.
reserve seating.
Yeah.
Unless you had to go on the stage.
Yeah, unless you were part of the stage and had
Yeah.
to be near it. Yeah.
So your wife and kids just hope they're lucky to get the seat.
yeah, just sit somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, no, God bless. You know what I mean? But I mean, I think that's if that's the essence of the challenges.
Yeah, yeah. That's not very difficult to pull off.
Yeah. If all of our problems could be just reserve seating, reserve parking, I will take that any day.
Yes.
I'll gladly trade my parking spot, Ed,
Yes.
for some less headaches.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Have you noticed at the 8 o'clock,
Yes.
our chapel service,
Yes.
everybody sits forward
Yeah.
and the very back, no. At the 9:30, They all sit in the back. You know what I mean? And the first 3 rows is like, we got to find something. What is that? I mean, like,
I don't know.
I always say that the level of spirituality is where they sit. You know what I mean? Erica's going, because she sits in the back because of the kids. You know what I mean? But I mean, so the more spiritual you are, the more up the front. You know what I mean? But if you notice that, because my wife say, one service big in the house, I said, no, it's big at the back, but just they don't come forward. You know what I mean? And the 8, you don't see the back.
Pastor Josiah says it's because people are late. And
they are late.
Actually, last night, Cruz and I sat on the floor in the front because Andres was preaching at young adults, and he kept walking up to the pulpit. So we're definitely going to stay at the back during Sundays.
Well, I mean, Sandra's on the platform the other day.
Should we show a photo of that?
Yeah,
if you got it, send it to me.
Sandra's on the platform the other morning, and little Sophia, our granddaughter, she's so loud, you know what I mean? She goes, "Mama, mama, mama," you know, and it can be distracting, you know what I mean? So, but that's what grandbabies do.
Yes.
So you have a picture of your son?
I'll send it to Ed really quick.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready.
This is when we play some of that shopping centre music.
Oh, that's right. That's
shopping centre music, or elevator music. You know what I mean?
With some saxophone. 4.
Yep.
There we go.
Can you expand that?
Oh, it's on zooming in. Wait, what if I do that?
Oh, I love that. You got to frame that.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
You're going to frame it?
It's a nice photo.
I love it. Right up there. Just looking at Daddy. Can you zoom in on Cruz's face?
Oh, it's so sweet.
Oh, I love that face. Look at it. Hey, Dad. So the question is, how did Dad handle it?
He handled it with so much grace. He actually, Cruz immediately walked up to him when he got up there, and Andres was like, you know what, this is what this talk is about, that we're not a hindrance to God, that he loves every moment.
I agree. And when I was in church as a younger teenager, like 15, 16, Pentecostal church, if one baby made a noise, the pastor would stop the service and say, "Sister," point to that balcony, "please go down to the mother's room." You know what I mean? And that was normal. Every week, "Sister, go down." Until one day, I don't know if it was planned or not. Maybe I shouldn't say it. But it's like this mother got revenge after several years.
Awesome.
She came to the front row, which was supposed to be reserved for pastors.
Yes.
And while the pastor preacher decided to breastfeed right in front there. So this pastor, I love this pastor dearly, went red as a beetroot and could not handle it. Now, today, it's just, we don't make a deal out of it, right?
Yeah.
But I'm talking about 70s.
70s, wow.
So it was like, so I don't know if that sister did it on purpose or was naive. I'm leaning towards purpose.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards purpose.
But she got him good. Okay. No more talk about sisters be quiet, go to her. That was it. You know what I mean? So she got him really good. And the poor pastor, God bless him, wonderful man, but the poor pastor, he couldn't hide how he felt. No. So whatever he felt, he could not bestow it. It would be revealed. And it was bright red. So, I was only young, and I was probably sitting in the balcony, but I could see him go red. And of course, so this is the old church. Yeah, but such is. Life is full of stories.
Yes.
Okay. Just imagine stories you tell of us when you get older.
Oh, yes.
All right. So that's happened in the church area. Any other news to tell me?
Is that what this show is? News?
Well, I was just thinking on that area. So do you have any other news? No.
No. It's just the
we are restarting our Bible school. We just finished the first term.
First term's done.
And so we're starting our second term.
Yep.
Not next week, but the week after.
Yes.
So we'd like to encourage anybody out there, spread the word out for us. Okay. So we will be doing the lectures.
Yes.
I'll be lecturing.
Yes.
And we also have a guest lecturer. We had Ian Henderson, which is phenomenal. He'll be back.
Yes.
We have actually Luke Smith will be lecturing. He used to be the mayor of Logan City, but people don't realize that he was a minister of the Church of Christ.
Oh, okay.
Ordained. And he also did his degree in biblical studies.
Nice.
And he's going to be talking on or teaching on biblical hermeneutics.
Hermeneutics, let's go.
Biblical hermeneutics.
Biblical hermeneutics.
Which is biblical interpretation, understanding the scriptures and
yes.
exegesis. And, I think that's a great thing. And I'll be doing Old Testament and also be doing theology.
Yes.
And we're prepping for next year. So perhaps there are those who are leaving high school.
Yes.
And they want to do a year in school or 2 years. We got a 2-year program.
Yes.
And consider that because Erica and I are just going through what we're doing in the first term next year. Won't we, Erica?
Yes.
And so we're going to be. I'll be doing New Testament.
Yes.
And looks like I'll also be doing church history.
Yeah, church history.
And we also have Ian back, who will be doing homiletics.
Oh, wait. Homiletics.
Homiletics.
What's that?
Biblical homiletics. So it's about how to preach, how to be facially expressive, how to throw your voice out. So hermeneutics is how to get the research. Homiletics is how to project, to share, to bring some life, to use the hands. Okay.
Yes. Hey,
exactly.
I got that naturally because I'm Italian, huh?
But we'll confirm on Sunday for sure what term 1 next year will be. We'll know for sure.
Aren't you an ABI?
What's ABI?
Australian-born Italian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Si, senor.
Yeah, my wife is. That sounds Spanish.
Oh, well, it's both Latin-based languages we share a lot between our
Like a
our
bigger
lingua.
pizza pie in the eye.
Hey,
Okay.
a pizza.
Yeah, and my wife is ABC,
What's that?
Australian-born Chinese. And I'm an ABE.
Australian-born
English.
No, it's an award the government gave me. No, I'm just joking. No, Australian-born English. Yeah. Australian-born English.
So Cruz's ABA.
Hey, what'd you cut to it?
Oh,
What
no.
happened? Oh, there we go.
Cruz's ABA. Australian-born American.
Well, half of them is.
Half and half.
Yeah, half. Not all of them, because you got it. Because you got a husband who's Australian.
Yeah, that's Australian-born American. So both.
What?
Cut us off.
It doesn't like my camera. It's fine. I'll be quiet now.
Is the camera not working? All right, well, I want to share on the Beatitudes.
Beatitudes, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so
The Beatitudes of
Yeah.
Jesus spoke on the mount.
say that again.
The Beatitudes that Jesus spoke on the mount. Matthew 5.
Very good.
That's the new intro.
All right, so seems like we got a bit of a weird show.
You can't see me. Sorry. Oh, well.
When we go to Erica, it's blank.
Yeah, it's blank.
I'm not here anymore.
She's killed her own camera.
Yeah, it's just been
No.
having too much fun over there.
So, anyhow,
Yes.
what I want to talk about is the second beatitude. Although
Yes.
this is the third time I think I've shared on it. The
Yes.
second beatitude, and found in Matthew chapter 5, verse 4.
Yes.
You have that scripture, and it said, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted."
Comforted.
Blessed are those who mourn. So remember, the very word blessed, okay, refers to a spiritual condition, okay, of divine joy that's already present. So when we use the word blessed, it doesn't mean something I will acquire,
Yes.
but meaning something I already have. So when it says, blessed are those who mourn, it's already saying those who mourn already have a divine gift of joy. It's already present.
Yes.
So it's not something that they are hoping to acquire or receive, but something they already have. Now, just as we read that text of scripture, blessed are those who mourn, for they'll be comforted, we understand that this second beatitude is a clear case of what we call divine passive, a godly passive. In other words, God will meet the blessed who mourn.
Yes. Yes.
God will comfort those who already know the joy and peace of God who mourn. Not in mourning I'll get it, but God will bless those who are already in that state of blessed will be comforted who mourn. Now, in the Good News Bible, and you know what I think of the Good News? Not much. Okay. It's paraphrase. It's
Yes,
not
yes.
original, it's paraphrase.
Yes.
It's, I understand its purpose.
Yes.
It says to help encourage people.
Yes.
I prefer people to read the Good News than not read anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also prefer them to read the New American as
New
well.
American,
But
yeah.
anyhow, but the Good News Bible turns a passive into an active.
Yes.
And so instead of it saying, blessed are those who mourn, for they'll be comforted, the Good News says, happy are those who mourn, God will comfort them.
Interesting.
It's interesting, but the problem is that it doesn't bring about the actual meaning. Okay? So the first question we ask is, what exactly should we mourn?
Yes.
What are we mourning? Why are those who mourn called or considered blessed? Okay? So Christians are never urged to seek suffering.
Yes.
There are some, particularly in Catholicism, who would teach in some extreme groups self-harm.
Oh.
By beating
my
yourself,
goodness.
hitting yourself, everything else, self-harm. Okay? Sort of like Christ on the cross. Like even in Rome, they supposedly have the 90-something stairs or whatever it was that was supposed to be to Golgotha, but it's not literally, but they say that. And people got to walk up there on their knees.
Oh my goodness.
And so it's got this idea from the Beatitude that if you inflict some pain, that somehow you're going to find blessing. But the blessing it's talking about is not something that you're going to get, it's something you already have.
Yes, yes.
So it's talking about those who are in mourning who are already in that place of blessedness. So we have to understand that as Christians, we're never urged to seek suffering. But we are encouraged to recognize that suffering can be an extraordinary teacher. You know, we always say that good soil is not on the top of the mountain, but it's in the valleys.
Valley.
And the valley is in our suffering and our situations. And these circumstances that we face will either make us or they'll break us. Now, we know little about the great depths of the human spirit until we endured suffering.
Yes.
Even like special forces teams in armed forces around the world, they will go under certain experiences of suffering, okay, to see how they endure, if they'll give up easily or if they've got a fighting spirit. But this one thing I know is this, is that pain rearranges our priorities.
Yes.
That's a good line, isn't it?
Yes.
It's almost good enough to have on screen, okay? But pain rearranges our priority. So when you're in pain, what's your priority? So some people experience pain in their marriage. So they can rearrange their priorities. So instead of priority being, I'm here with you through sickness and health, to death to us part, they're like, I'm out of here. Too much pain. Pain rearranges our priorities perhaps in friendship. Perhaps a friendship gets strained, there's a bit of pain.
Yes.
Some will say, I'm sticking by it because our friendship's worth it. Others say, forget about it. But it could also be in the area of church. So there are those who were once strong in their faith in God. Today they're not.
Yes.
And that's because they experience pain.
Pain, yeah.
It could be from the church itself, or it could be because of they feel unanswered prayer. You find, as listening to a particular illustration given by a pastor about this particular couple in America,
Yes.
I think it was in Arizona, and they were saying, and they're ministering, but they're both the people who are divorced and remarried, but they're ministering, and they said that they had a 9-year-old child who died.
Oh, wow.
And with that child dying, it created such pain that it rearranged the priorities, and the priority of staying together, husband and wife, didn't hold in. So pain will rearrange our priorities. It can be positive or it can be negative. Then I was thinking, Ed, about refugees.
Yes.
I'm not talking about people who pay money to get out, but I'm talking about genuine refugees.
Yes. War
And I've met
refugees.
many people who have been refugees, and when they tell me their story of what they went through,
Yes.
and normally sometimes the worst pain they experienced wasn't the country they fled from, but would be the refugee camp they're in.
Yes,
I know the case where the women said they were raped, and all sorts of things happened. And, you know, to become a refugee, a true refugee, has got to be horrible.
Yeah.
And the forces that drive people from their homes, you know, have got to be opposed and stopped. You think about the refugees from the Ukraine war,
Yes.
the Russians did. And yet there are people in Western countries, in particular United Kingdom, where there are men who are trying to take advantage of these women who are refugees,
Yeah.
wanting sexual favors and other stuff. And there's some terrible stories. And I think we're going to hear more stories as time goes on. It's bad enough they had to flee their country,
Yeah.
let alone have people in other countries trying to take advantage of the situation. Yet anyone who is obliged to flee their home quickly learns what really matters. What really matters is life.
Yes.
And their possessions at the end of the day are worthless.
Yes.
Right? Because they've just had a rocket go through their apartment block.
Yeah.
Or they've got people being shot in the street. And all of a sudden they do it. It's a reminder of the World War II with the refuge. One was from the Germans, and two is when the Soviet Union came in and people were fleeing.
Yeah.
See, you got to understand this. Mourners, those who mourn, endure suffering. And the blessed ones who walk in the blessing, who among them experience the comfort of God. So if you understand what it is, see, you can be a Christian
Yes.
and not have God's presence. And I've seen that. I've seen people come into church who are Christians and they're falling apart
Yes.
because they're coming to church to get that blessedness, meaning to get God's presence. But there are people who are suffering, and I've seen that with Colin Margaret Lobb with the cancer treatment going through. And everything he's going through, he has this state of blessed.
Yes.
And I say, blessed are those who mourn.
Yes.
And I see them just in faith. There's still tears.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still grief, but they have faith. Yet I see others with, it's like a hangnail compared to what they have, and they're falling apart.
Yes.
So mourners endure suffering. Anyone who mourns endures suffering. But the blessed ones, they experience comfort from God. And that's why the Bible said, blessed are those who mourn, meaning you're already in that blessed state, for they shall receive comfort from God. I think of the natural disasters we hear.
Yes.
Now, the difference between a cyclone and a hurricane, you know the difference between a cyclone and a hurricane?
Oh, where it is on the equator?
No. So a hurricane, which is in the northern hemisphere,
Yes.
turns clockwise.
Ah, yes.
And a cyclone, southern hemisphere, turns anti-clockwise.
Yes.
Magnetic force, right?
Yep.
So that's how it goes.
Same with the toilet flush.
That's right. When water goes down the sink. That's actually gospel truth.
Yeah.
It's because of the magnetic force, North Pole versus
Yeah.
South Pole. And you think you're smart, don't you? Okay. Erica, you can't say much because we can't see you.
I know, it's fine. I'll withhold.
Okay, thanks, God. It must have been good. Okay. But I think of the natural disasters like cyclones or tsunamis.
Yes.
They strike our world, all right? And when there is a warning, you're always going to get a few brave souls, usually, or fools, who choose to remain in their homes.
Yes. Yes.
All right? But the vast majority of the inhabitants flee from the coming devastation. But after the storm abates, those who are able to do so return home.
Yes.
And at times there is a pattern that emerges between the lines of the news reports that are written for the world to read. And the pattern is this. Often there's a striking contrast between those who stay and those who leave. And I think for us here, it had to really do with the bushfires.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the big disaster for us, we had the floods.
Yes.
It's the bushfires.
Yeah.
I think, see, the floods is gradual. You know what I mean? And you can momentarily be in the water, get away. But in the bushfire, you're consumed.
Consumed. Yeah.
And there is pictures of those who stayed and those who left.
Yes.
Now, normally the hearts of those who stayed and survived is often a heart full of gratitude.
Yes.
And the gratitude is not about what was saved or what was lost, but rather they're still alive. Whereas those who returned, they don't have the gratitude they're alive, but rather they see the devastation and anguish of what they lost.
Yes.
Because they didn't go through the suffering. They went for the suffering of losing things, but not the threat of losing their life.
Yes.
And when you experience personal anguish or personal devastation, then it can be different. So the one who might have lost a home but stayed there at the fire and just saying, I'm just grateful I'm alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the one who got away and came back, they're just going, I'm falling apart because of what I've lost. And, you know, the one who is lashed by the storm is often the one who is most grateful.
Yeah. Yeah.
The one who is lashed by the storm is often the one who is most grateful. And that's what happens. It's the storms in our lives that make us or break us. It's the storms in our life that develop us and bring us. And I can look back to certain storms in my life, and I'm sure as you can, and I'm sure as Erica can, and there have been certain storms. And at the moment, they were horrendous.
Yeah.
And perhaps even in some cases at the moment, we realize we may have lost our life. But then we get out of it and we are not looking about what we might have lost physically, but we're grateful that we're still here and alive. And that's the whole situation. The one who is lashed by the storm is often the one who is grateful. Now, it does not follow that we seek to stand in the path of the destructive storm. It's not that someone saying, well, you know, Ed, I want to grow in the Lord, so I'm going to go and position myself in some sort of tragedy. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure there are people who might think like that. But we don't go and set ourselves up in some sort of tragedy,
Yes.
okay, in order to learn gratitude. But the blessed who suffer and mourn deep loss can be blessed by God in that suffering.
Yes.
See, if you don't, if you enter into a tragedy and you don't have a God consciousness, you can be a Christian, but you don't have a God consciousness, then you can't be aware that God is with you and growing with you.
Yeah, yeah.
So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, or Daniel in the lion's den, or the three guys in the fire,
Yes.
they had a consciousness of God. So even when they're thrown into the fire, there was the Son of Man. Or even when he's thrown in the lion's den, there was the angels of God that shut the lions' mouths.
Yes, yes, yes.
So they weren't blessed because of those things. They were already blessed before those things.
yes.
So even someone who is blessed can experience fire. Someone who's blessed can experience hungry lions.
Yes, yes.
But the difference is that we're already blessed. We're already in that state of knowing God. So when we're in that state of God consciousness, we can handle these things because God is comforting us. But then there are those who will fall apart because there's not a God consciousness. And I think in some way there's a little bit of that with Esther, Hadassah. And that's where at first when Mordecai says to her, take a stand, she's like, I can't do that. No one knows. At that point, I think she didn't know the blessedness of God. But then she went through a time of fasting. And then when he finished that fasting, she said, go ahead, I'm going to do it. And if I perish, then I perish.
Yeah.
And that to me, Erica, is that she got to a state of God's presence, blessedness. Would you agree?
Yes.
But it came about because she had to reposition herself.
It's beautiful.
So she could see a storm coming. And when she was asking, it's like, no, there's enough. But then Mordecai says, well, if you don't, help will come from somewhere else and you won't survive. I mean, that was pretty strong words. So she went away and fasted.
Yes.
And see, that's what happened. If you don't feel that you're in that place, you have to reposition yourself.
Yeah.
And you've got to get in that place to do it because you have to be able to handle it. In the book of Ecclesiastes, it's written by Solomon, chapter 7, verses 2 to 4. It's always an unusual text. It says, it is better to go to a house of mourning than to go to a house of feasting. Sorrow is better than laughter, for when a face is sad, a heart may be merry, or happy. And verse 4 says, the mind of the wise is in the house of mourning, while the mind of fools is in the house of pleasure. You know, I got to be honest with you, Ed, for years I've pondered these words, wondering, you know, what really is this all about? Because it seems confusing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You think about it, it says here, it's better to go to a house of mourning than to a house of feasting.
Yeah, what?
What? Go to a house of a funeral rather than the house of the wedding?
Yeah, what?
Sorrow is better than laughter. Crying is better than laughter. For when a face is sad, a heart may well be happy. So, you know, to be honest, I still ponder on these scriptures. But, you know, then I think I've been to quite a few funerals in my life.
Yes.
And I've been to those certain ones, Ed, where at certain times I've heard people get the microphone who knew the departed one, and they tell stories on how that one who's departed had encouraged them, influenced them, or helped them.
Yes.
And even though the sadness in the room, as they spoke and as they helped us to remember their life, this person, the atmosphere changes. And it's not that there isn't mourning, but there seems to be something majestic. There seems to be this blessedness, this joy, or this peace. There's tears,
Yes.
but at the same time, there's laughters when you reflect. You heard the bells of faith ringing in the minds and hearts of those who've come in to honor this person. And in a strange and indescribable way, a heart may be happy in the house of mourning. That's what the Beatitude says. So even in that place of mourning, there's this happiness. Like even when I was at Pastor Shane's mum's funeral,
Yes.
you know, some weeks ago, and for me particular, it had to do with the pictures. And there's a number of slides they put up there. And
Yes.
I mean, I must admit the last ones of her life when she's older, it didn't make me feel over happy. I felt a sadness for her. But when I think of all the things she did, and they talked about how she played the piano, and she did all these things, there was this joy and there's this laughter to where even in the midst of the mourning, there is this incredible, majestic peace or joy or blessing. And that's what it's talking about.
Yes.
Because when you have hope in God, it enables you to handle the situation you're in. I'm not saying enjoy it, but handle it.
Handle it, yeah.
See, the righteous also mourn when they see people treated unjustly. So mourning is not just about what I'm experiencing, but it's also having compassion for others. You know, it's so easy today because of our wounds and situations that we develop an armor or a hard shell.
Yes, yes.
Because we want to protect ourselves from the feeling of pain of others. I mean, how many times do we go past someone on the street? Like today, you know, we see more people who are homeless or living in cars here than I've ever seen. And that's simply because of the lack of availability for houses right now.
Yep.
And I wonder how much we close off our hearts. I was in Asia one time.
Yes.
And I was with a missionary, a good person. And when I'd go in these countries, I'll go and get change. You know what I mean? As much as I can.
Yep.
And then in these countries, of course, there's so much more beggars.
Yes.
And every time I walk past a beggar, I drop something in. I mean, in one day, it can be 20 stops.
Yes.
Okay, I just dropped it in. I mean, it's trivial, the money to our terms. You know what
Yes.
I mean? But I just dropped something in. And after 5 days, the missionary pulled me aside and said, I notice every time you walk past, you know, a street beggar, you put something in. I said, yeah. He says, what do you do that for? And I said, well, it may not be what I'm doing for them and as much as what I'm doing for me.
Yes.
Now, I give the gift. What they do with it is between them and God.
Yes, yes.
But when I go by, I just feel this compulsion, perhaps mourning or grief, that at least in some way I should have compassion.
Yes, yes.
And that's what we're really working in the church, for compassion. You know what I mean? Whether it be the older lady in that tent or the other areas, is some form of compassion. Now, sometimes they'll try and take advantage of it.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean you don't have compassion. I think a lot of us as Christians have become hard-hearted. And, you know, every month we try to reach out to our community.
Yes.
And a lot of Christians have come to me and said, Pastor, I think that Sunday night after doing that is a waste of time. And Christians say, we don't like it. And I say, don't you have compassion?
Yeah.
Because it's not about our church people. It's about this. But it gives us a chance every month to reach out to persons in our community.
Yeah, yeah.
And blessed are those who mourn is not just talking about what you go through yourself, but we've got to not lose the mourning for others.
Yeah, yes.
Okay? So the blessed continue to mourn in the face of injustice. You know, I like to read books, you know that one.
Yes.
And if you ever want to read the life story, a lady called Anne Frank, which is quite, have you ever heard of Anne Frank?
Yes.
Okay. You read any of her stories?
No.
Okay. Well, they were German-born Jews.
Yes.
Okay. And then the 1933 or something, when the Hitler came into power, the two Frank children, girls, and the parents took off to Holland to escape. And regrettably, the Germans came there. And so the Germans made it the ruling that they're going to capture all of the Jews of Holland and take them to concentration camps. And so the Franks, the mum and dad, 2 kids, with another 4 other Jewish people, hid in a secret room.
Yeah.
But they got discovered.
Yes.
And it was in 1944. It was only about less than a year before they'd be liberated.
Yeah.
And they were taken to Poland, Auschwitz, to that terrible place. And the only one in the family who survived was the father. And the daughters and the mother were only 3 months off before being liberated, before the Americans, and they died. But one witness who was with Anne Frank, and she was 15 when she died, by the way.
Yeah.
And one witness who was with Anne Frank in the camp said her tears never ran dry. Now, when it says her tears never ran dry, you got to understand her body never gave up.
Yeah.
Never, her spirit never surrendered to compassion fatigue. So when her tears never dried up, it wasn't because of her, but because she saw the other injustices.
Yeah.
And she was so moved. they said that to the end she was able to mourn, and she was a blessed presence for all who knew her. Meaning she carried the presence of God.
Yes.
It wasn't just that she carried the presence of God that touched over. And so when it says, blessed those who mourn, simply means that it was not only mourning for her own suffering, but she was mourning for other people and their needs.
Yeah.
You know, so this beatitude calls on us as the faithful to mourn over evil, even in our own lives, where we realize that we've become hard.
Yeah.
And if you find yourself hard, then, you know, failure to love God and failure to love the people that God's created should produce a level of grief in us.
Yes.
We should be saying, God, why am I so hard-hearted? Why am I not having compassion? Why am I reacting that on a Sunday I don't see this here? Or why am I reacting I don't want to sow seed to? Why does it happen? See, blessed are those who experience this mourning. We feel what happens. So what happens to people who mourn because of their own pain and at the same time are insensitive to the pain of others? So what happens to somebody who's going through a hard time and they're grieving for the hard time, yet they don't have compassion towards others who are grieving? You know, I often say that, you know, when you can give out of your own need, you've truly given.
Yes.
I talked to one waitress one time in America. You know, they live on tips. It used to be 10%, then it was 15%, then it was 20%. I don't know what it is now, probably 25%. It's going to cost more for a tip than the meal, okay? But I remember saying to this one young lady,
Yes.
and I said to her, and she's only getting like $5 an hour.
Oh, wow.
Because they live on tips, not like
Yeah.
here. And I said to her, who are the best tippers? She says, normally it's the poor people.
Yeah.
And I said, really? She said, yeah. I said, how's that work? She said, because they understand what it is to have need.
Yes. Yes.
And in your own need, when you learn to give, there is a blessing,
Yeah.
not hoarding it. So there's no hint that you are blessed because you're mourning for your own area but being hard towards others. If you are mourning because of your own hardship, but you're hard towards others, then you are not in the blessed state.
Yes. Yes.
See, those who are aware of their failures, okay, who come to God and say, God, help me to be more compassionate, they will experience the blessing and comfort of God. And from the depths of their souls will come the quiet peace of God in the midst of their mourning. It says, we can do this.
Yes.
And these people are a blessed people because they have God's presence. And so when we read this particular beatitude, the second one in Matthew 5:4, and it said, blessed are those who mourn, for they'll be comforted. It's really talking paramount and clearly, okay, that it's those who are already in that blessed state.
Yes.
Not meaning that, hey, because I'm mourning, I will enter into this blessed state. But rather than this word blessed here is meaning you're already in that place. Yes. And while you're mourning, you'll be comforted. How? Because you're already in that place. And that's why we've got a hunger for the presence of God.
Yes. Yes.
So when you have the presence of God and you go through a time of mourning, you will be comforted.
Yes.
But if you go through the mourning and you know God, but you don't have God's presence, you will not be comforted. I always say, and I'm sure you heard me say it as I finish, is that just because I'm a Christian, it doesn't mean I won't go through trials.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because I'm a Christian doesn't mean I won't see death. It doesn't mean I won't see disease or sickness or financial hardships. The Bible doesn't say because I'm a Christian I won't see this. But what the Bible says is that God will be with me. And when it says God is with me, that's blessed.
Yes.
It's not meaning that because I'm in this hard time, I'm going to find comfort. I'm already in comfort, therefore I'll hand it. So when I see like Margaret and Colin,
Yes.
it's not them coming to church of tears and saying, hey, we're grieving, I need to find God's Spirit. They say, we already have God's Spirit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And He's comforting us during this time. The sad thing is, Ed and Erica, is that there are a lot of people who don't know how to walk in the Spirit of God.
Yes. Yes.
And we've got a hunger for it.
Yes.
And if you don't have it, then do at least what Esther did. Spend several days to set yourself apart, pray and fast.
Yes.
She went from this, I can't do it, and Mordecai said, well, God will bring deliverance from somewhere else, but don't think you'll be spared. She fasted and prayed. She come back and says, for such a time as this, if I perish, I perish. Therefore, her life didn't mean anything because now it wasn't about self-preservation. It was about grieving or mourning for her people.
Yes.
There was a shift. And I think the story of Esther is a wonderful, wonderful story of that dynamic shift. And that's encouragement to us that no matter how hard it is, there can be a shift.
Yes, yes.
Amen. And we really need that shift.
Amen.
You agree?
Yes.
I'm looking forward to sharing this Sunday.
This Sunday?
Yes, this Sunday.
The 28th.
The 28th.
Yeah.
I had last Sunday off.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to sharing the Word of God
Yes.
in the church. And at the night is Josiah sharing the Word, which should be eventful.
Yes, very eventful.
He's really pressing in there, isn't he? But looking to really move in the ways of God. And,
Knights of Fire, I think it's called.
What's mine called?
The Shaun Power Hour.
Chapel at 9:30 a.m. service.
Whatever. Okay. Whatever. The young ones. Praise God. But it's going to be a good time.
It is going to be great. Sunday.
So we want to see you join us. And we'll be having the prayer at 5:30. That's always been powerful.
Yes, yes.
Which is good. And coming in another couple of weeks towards our market.
Yep. Father's Day markets.
Father's Day market. So what we're going to do in that Father's Day market? Well, this Father's Day, which is 2 weeks' time.
Yep, 2 weeks.
I'm going to have my wife speak on the in the morning.
What?
Yeah, I want to have Sandra speak on Father's Day.
Yes.
Because I want it to come across in several perspectives. Okay? Number one, I want her to share about her dad who died when she was 18 years of age. I want her to share maybe touching about how she saw me as a father to her son. And I would like her to share about what she sees in her son as a father to her grandchildren. And I think sometimes it's good to get a different perspective.
Yes.
Don't you think?
Very.
I certainly would like to see a different perspective of what people think and what they see. And I think it'll be good. And then we have a gift for all the dads.
Yes.
But also don't forget too that on that morning, in that afternoon at our markets, we're going to have we're spending over $2,000 in
Let's go.
gifts.
Yeah.
It could be barbecue, tools,
Camping, TV.
camping. We're doing a big TV.
Big TV,
Big
yep.
TV. Is that a 60?
Oh, I don't know. Could be.
Yeah, a TV. And we're giving them all away.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's going to be at the markets.
And
Yes.
But there's also gift cards at the morning services as well.
Yeah, $100 gift
Yes.
cards.
Yes.
Okay, the 2 morning services.
For the giveaways.
So we're giving away 2. So there's a lot of good things that we can be doing, and that's what I like very much about it. See, this is what happens. I put on thing here, so it comes on good. So you know what I mean? It'll all be good.
Yes.
And it's great. Look, we even had online here certain people. Thank you, Kate.
Yes. Thank you for the comments,
Kat,
people.
for sharing. You know what I mean? And
appreciate the comments.
talking about stuff and comments.
It's good
She does
engagement.
everything from the cutlery on the teeth to Westfield to just whatever. You know what I mean? So it comes across there. And it's grateful that people are helping her as a single mum too, so which is good. So appreciate it. And Joel DeFranco, I think he's over from the Philippines. So it's good having you speaking there. But it'll be a good Father's Day.
It will be. Yes.
Yeah. It will work out well.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen. Make sure you smash like on this video, okay? It's very important you smash like.
And share it.
And share it.
Yeah, share
Very
it out
important.
there.
Especially
Amen.
for our blooper part.
Yes. Especially for the first 30 minutes.
Well, someone said it's the best show we've
No.
done.
Yeah, there you go. But the last part was powerful
That's sad.
too. Sorry, Kelly.
Well,
Not joking.
Well, I mean, it's sad meaning like it was about nothing, wasn't
It
it?
was about nothing. It was a Seinfeld episode.
What was the laughter about again?
Filler episode.
I can't remember what they laughed at.
The movies and
Keeps
the
Oh,
hitting
the
his
cinema,
ears,
the
hitting
cinema
them.
part.
The cinema. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Some of
the cinema.
What you bring in the cinemas.
Yeah.
Yes.
And my special needs.
Your
Yes.
special needs.
I can imagine I'm going to be surrounded by people eating apples.
I'm definitely not going to bring a chocolate bar, have a hidden hand,
the
start
wrapper?
unwrapping it.
Well,
Next week.
No, you know what gets me? This is how bad it is, right? Sometimes I've had pastors in the front row.
What?
Now listen. I'm preaching.
Yeah.
And I can hear them rustling through their handbags or things, getting out candies. What is it with pastors that think they've got to suck on a candy? All right? And then I'll hear them rustling through the bag to get it. Then I hear them trying to tear open the thing. It's like, I just want to get down the platform and just open it for them. No, not that. Just going, here, it's open,
It's
all
open.
right? Just eat it.
Yeah.
Okay? Eat it. You know, just take it and eat it. You know what I mean?
Quick about
As long as you don't pour your lukewarm coffee on them, I think it's okay.
I don't have lukewarm coffee. This
Yes.
is just honey.
No, I was referring to our previous.
You know
last
how
week, the
darker
callback.
this one is? That's because of the dark honey.
It was a callback to last week's episode.
I know what it was. I was just trying not to bring it up.
Sorry.
Still can't believe they press charges on cold coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's okay. It's not mine to judge. Amen.
Yes, no worries.
The amount of things done to me, I could have really got them. Amen. Especially that last one.
Yes, yes.
Amen.
Break it, yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Broken windows, that cost us a few grand. But anyhow, praise God.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. Well,
we
it's
need
been
to
good
end this.
sharing.
Oh, my
Erica,
goodness.
it's always wonderful having you.
Thank you. It's a joy.
Hopefully next week the camera will be refixed.
Yes, yes. I'll take a look at it.
Well, I don't know. I saw her hitting a microphone as well, so it's all sorts of things happening.
Yeah,
Okay.
man.
Yeah.
What else is broken over there?
Yeah.
Oh,
Ed,
gosh.
it's always good to see you, my friend.
Yes, it's good to see you too, Sean.
So the countdown is on. Perhaps we'll find somebody for you.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
Okay, comes in there, and we look forward to seeing you in church.
Yeah.
And we do notice there's more and more people coming back to church now.
Yes.
Which is very exciting. So we appreciate you very much. We love you, and those who are joining us from other places and parts, thank you for joining with us. And we should be back again next week.
Yeah, we will be. Let's go. Same time, same place. Bye, everyone.
God bless you.
Here we are today to talk life at Dunamis.